Okay, so here is the lecture that I was going to give today in class. We were going to be talking about resumes and things like that, nuts and bolts. So here's a general outline of what we're going to be talking about, objective all the way up to the overall outlook. How you're presenting your information and ultimately presenting yourself. So here we go. So objective statements, there's kind of two rules of thought about these. Some people like them, some people think they are antiquated and out of date and no longer needed. One of the reasons why people don't like them is because they're often vague, redundant, and really broad. They don't tell the reader anything, and it's basically a waste of space. So here's the standard objective statement. To find a job in the hospitality field with an opportunity for growth and advancement. Really not telling the reader anything. Of course, somebody's trying to find a job in the hospitality field. They just applied. They're submitting their resume. It's a redundant statement right there. And it's really broad. It doesn't tell the reader anything about the person, the applicant, and it's overall weak. There's a stronger way of writing an objective statement. Assistant manager at this location, and they want to maintain the quality of experience for guests and employees while implementing innovative cost-saving measures. So, if you look at these two, which one is stronger? The one that gives them a little bit more detail. It isn't that vague, redundant. So, standard doesn't fly. One of the things that is really red flag for readers is when you use these catchphrases like a challenging opportunity, or opportunity for growth and advancement, because really they're just empty statements, a lot of BS and filler. So they're blah, nobody pays attention to them. You skip right over them. For the stronger ones, this one is stronger because it specifically mentions the company. So the reader immediately knows that this resume is personalized for them. It isn't just a form resume that you've blanketed the world with. Also, it tells the reader what they're going to bring to the job or the position. The standard one is all about, I want the company to do this for me. But the stronger one is about, this is what I want to do for you. It's much more proactive, much more engaging. So that's what makes a strong objective statement. Don't do the blah one. Don't do this one. Big X. If you're going to have an objective statement, make sure that it's strong. Make sure that it is focused and focuses on the reader. What are you going to do for them? Ultimately, the resume is about the reader. What will you bring to this position? So from the very first thing with that objective statement, you want to include that. All right. So be a winner. Don't be a loser. The next section of your resume we're going to talk about is your personal information. How your reader can contact you. Now, these are the general things that I've seen in personal information sections. And that this information can be listed, all along the top, in a margin, like on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, can be broken up between the top and the bottom. Ultimately, it's up to you. Doesn't really matter. Just make sure it's easy for the reader to find and it's consistent. You are creating a letterhead for yourself with your resume, and your cover letter will look just like your resume in that letterhead. So be mindful of that. Now there are 4 things that have pretty much become the standard and the basics for your personal information. It's your name, your phone number, your email, and your LinkedIn information. Now, the reason why addresses aren't necessarily seen on resumes anymore is because it doesn't really matter. It used to be that people, when they wanted to interview you, would either call you or send you a letter. That's not the way of the world any longer. Technology has made it faster. So they're going to call you or email you. Those are the things. So sometimes people only have their name, phone number, and email, and that's it. That's fine. It's not a big deal. You just want to tell the reader who you are and how to contact you if they want to learn more about you. One thing on this list that should never be included is the picture. Why? Because it is against the federal law to discriminate against anybody or not hire or interview anybody based on their race, their gender, ethnicity, age, anything like that. So a picture should never be included. In fact, most people, if they see a picture on a resume, just immediately ignore it. Unless you are a model or an actor who's bringing in some headshots, there's no reason to put a picture on your resume. It's not going to help you at all. Trust me. They would rather avoid the potential lawsuit than even bring in somebody with a picture for an interview. So don't shoot yourself in the foot. So let's take a look at Grace Nagel. So you see her phone number, email. Apparently she has a digital portfolio that she wants to take a look at, and her LinkedIn. Now, one thing that I want to point out is her email address is not professional. graciepoo@gmail.com. This is probably her email from junior high. If you are using the same one, you need to change it. Let that one become your junk email and then come with a professional email address. You can use your WSU one for now, but remember, once you graduate, they are going to cut you off. So if you sent out resumes, and some places keep the resumes on file for 5 years, and then if they decide to go back and try and contact you in 3 or 4 years for a position, they're never going to be able to get a hold of you. So look into getting a professional email, and typically it will be a Gmail or an Outlook. Hotmail is an old thing, and in fact, it's turned to Outlook now. So Gmail or Outlook. Get a professional one. Also, one other thing I want to talk about is for your address. If you decide to include it in your resume, pick an address. So many times for students I've seen their permanent address and their school address. As a reader, I don't care, and I'm confused on why you have 2 addresses. Pick a single address and go with it. Enough said. Alright. So there are a bunch of other sections to your resume. As you can see, these are just some of them. I'm just going to touch on a few of them before I go more in depth. So the first one, skills. We've been talking about this since day one. Soft skills, bad. Concrete skills, yay! So let's look at Grace's skills list. She has 7 things here. Obviously there's a problem with Excel if it's blue underlined, but she has a mix of some good and some bad going on here. First thing is Excel should actually be capitalized. Remember that basic grammar rules. Proper noun should be capitalized. But if you look at it, she actually doesn't even need that bullet at all. Why? Because Microsoft Office actually is the umbrella for Excel, Access, Word, PowerPoint, and a few other programs. So she doesn't actually need that, which is kind of funny in a ha-ha horrible way, because she talks about how she has attention to detail, which is a soft skill, and she actually shows that she doesn't have attention to detail as a skill, because she has a grammar problem. She doesn't even realize that Excel is part of Microsoft Office. So just an example of one of those reasons why you do not include soft skills. Do not list them. Let your reader find those soft skills in your resume. Embed it in your resume and show it, don't tell it. And of course the other soft skill in here, hard worker. My response would be prove it. What do you have to prove this? And you should be proving it in your resume. Alright, soft skills, bad. Concrete skills, yay! And the other thing that I want to mention, for interests and hobbies, you only want to include it if it applies to the job or the company. For example, if you are maybe going for an accounting job and you, in your research, realize that they have a golf tournament, a yearly golf tournament. And if you play golf, great. Include it in an interest and hobbies. But if you include scuba diving and that company has nothing to do with scuba diving, it's just a waste of space. So only use it if it applies to the job or the company. One thing, education. We all have it. You're here for it. So education must include the following things. The name of your school, fully typed out. Washington State University, not WSU. There's many WSUs out there. So do your reader a favor, Washington State University. Include the city and state of the school location that you are attending. Are you WSU Pullman or Tri-Cities or Vancouver, or are you Global Campus? Let the reader know. Also tell them if you're getting a BA or a BS, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts. 2 different types of degrees, different types of classes that you take. If you don't know what you are, go to your department and find out. Maybe the secretary can help you. Or take a look on My WSU. Also, what is your degree in? Do you have any minors, certificates, or emphases that you are getting at the same time? GPA is optional. Some degrees, I believe the accounting and the finance ones tend to encourage the GPA. Others don't. It can hurt you. It can help you. It can go either way. Applicable courses. Names of the courses, not just the numbers. Nobody knows what English 402 is. But if you say technical and professional writing, that gives them an idea of what you were learning in the class. And then, of course, month and year of your graduation. And we only want the month and the year that you're graduating. We don't care when you started. If it's a year and a half in the future, then just do anticipated graduation this date. Here's Grace's education section. So you can see that she has WSU, or Washington State University, where she is. She's graduating this May. Here is her degree bolded, GPA. She has a minor, and here's applicable coursework. So that's just an example of how one way to format it and provide that information. It doesn't take up a lot of space. Experience. So this can be work experience, name of the business. One rule of thumb, and this is kind of going to contradict me a little bit, but not really. So rule of thumb is the first time you mention something, you spell it out completely. The next time you use, nice to know I misspelled that word, you use an acronym. So the first time that you mention Washington State University, you spell out Washington State University. Then you can use WSU. So if you start with your education, then in your experience, if you work for WSU, just do WSU. They'll all know what it is. Again, just like with education, state and location, your job title, when you were employed, and then 3 or 4 achievement-based bullets. Do not talk about your job duties. And we'll get into that in a little bit more in depth in a couple minutes. So here's how Grace set up her experience. Here's all the information. Do note that her experience is set up similar to her education. Here's her job title as an education, job title. Business, business. City and state, italicized, dates all to the left. So remember that repetition, the crap hats. So bullets and verbs. Here's something that I really want you to pay attention to. Remember that you should be having bullets, not paragraphs underneath your experience. Your reader has 6 to 8 seconds. That was just 6 seconds right there. That's all the time they have to read your resume. They cannot get through a paragraph, so give them bullets. Make it easy on them. Really limit those bullets to 2 to 3 per experience, whether it's for an organization on campus, a job that you did, a class project, 2 to 4 experiences. And they're achievement based. We don't want to know that as a secretary you answered the phone and you filed things. Dude, every secretary does that. That's a waste of space. Tell them what you accomplished, what would qualify you for promotion or a raise in that position, and focus on those achievements. Quantify. Tell them how many people you worked with, how many people you supervised, in what time frame, those types of quantifications. Verbs should start every single bullet. Never duplicate a starting verb for a bullet anywhere on the resume, so you should have completely different bullets. And of course, phrases, not sentences. No periods, and remove non-essential words. I'm going to go through this super fast. So here is Grace. Here's what she has, and here's what she should actually include. I merged these 2 bullets together to create this. This does not start with a verb, so I actually quantify by saying how many guests. And it daily is a quantification. No further complaints is also a quantification as well. Also, make sure the verb tenses match. If it's present, use present tense. If it's an old job, use past tense. I'm running out of time. Okay, and here, remember the overall look. Crap hats. Watch the 3 other video lectures in the homework calendar, and revise. This is super important. This resume there's a reason why we were doing it first. Even if you have a job, you still need to revise your resume. It's a living document. I'm revising my resume all the time. So should you. Okay, I hope that worked. Have a great day.